surprised you?
No, they've surprised me. I think I knew they would be good because our teams have been good for 10 years. I mean, I thought they'd play hard, and I thought they'd win a lot of games. But to be playing at the level they're playing right now has surprised me, and I think it's a great compliment to them. It's really important to give them credit for team chemistry and unselfishness, and I think it's really a compliment to the assistant coaches when them pulling together, because this whole bunch right now is pulled together and they're having fun. They're enjoying each other and they're enjoying playing. And I swear, I'm in the dressing room after the game, they're talking about Oklahoma State. I mean, it's just the way they've been, and that's it's hard to get that chemistry, and it's even harder to keep it. And I think that's the fun thing about this team right now.
When you talk about the offense, 3 drives over 80 yards, when you talk about what Greg Davis has been able to do and how over the past even 10 years he's really gotten the brunt of maybe the criticism?
Well, first, the offensive coordinator is going to get the criticism because we've got 20 million play callers. Everybody in the state of Texas calls plays, men, women, children. I got little bitty kids that come up and say, "Why aren't we throwing the screen better?" You know, it's one of those deals. So that's part of being a coach at Texas. We got a lot of coaches, got a lot of help. And I think there's probably been some help in here sometime too, probably, if I'd go back and try to be realistic about it. But Greg has done a great job because he really he's kind of the mindset of this team. He doesn't care about any credit. Criticism does not bother him. It eats a lot of people up. He does not care at all. He doesn't look at it. He doesn't listen to it. He knows that he's good at what he does, and he is constantly trying to get better at what he does. And the best thing our offensive staff has done, because you can't talk about Will without talking about the other 3, really, and you can't talk about Greg without talking about the other 4, because they sit in there hours together and formulate these plans. So it's not one guy, and very honestly, when it's working, they're easy to call because you got 5 calls on 3rd down, and if everybody's blocking everybody, probably all 5 will work. And if the day it's not working, it's when his job gets really bad. I mean, I remember one year I was coaching the offense at Iowa State. I was the offensive coordinator, and we were playing Nebraska. And at that time, you scripted all the plays, and we had 19 plays we were going to run to change formations and change the plays, start the game. We'd gone through all 19 and hadn't made a first down. And I remember Donnie Duncan saying, what do you think, Mac? And I said, I think we ought to try to kill as much clock as we could and get the game over because we're going to get beat. And that's about what happens when it's not working. I mean, you just have to try to find some way to change it. But Greg and that offensive staff for 10 years, I think the best thing they've done, they've been able to figure out who their best players are and feature those players. They've changed offenses. They've been running one year with an emphasis. They'll throw it every time. They're no huddle. And right now for this team, what they've done is they've taken each of the components and what can Jordan do best and what can Quan do best and where does Chris come in, and Major right now is fighting with how to handle the running backs. You know, we put Fozzie in for a play the other night to let him get hit in live just to make sure he felt okay, and now where does he fit? And so we're constantly looking at how you need to feature each of these guys and what's best for our team.
Coach, it seems like this team has an identity that is one of a team. You know, so many times in college football, one player gets singled out or the coach gets singled out. What does it mean to you to have the team have this cohesive identity to the country?
Well, it's a great message to all of us, in that it's about family and it is about team. And if you give up your selfishness, it makes it work better in every business in the country on our staff. Everybody's that way. I think I saw maybe 15 different guys have scored touchdowns on this team. And it might have been 15 different offensive guys, and they really don't care. There's not one guy. There was a receiver that didn't touch the ball as much, and he was walking out Saturday night after the game. I said, sorry, you didn't get as many touches tonight. And he said, Coach, it's not about me. It doesn't matter. And here's a young receiver, and I'm thinking, it really doesn't matter. And that's good. That's the fun part of this team right now, and our staff's having as much fun as we've ever had because these guys are just trying to do everything right. We feel pressure as a staff to make sure that we help them get accomplished what they want to, because they're working so hard and they're trying so hard to reach out to everybody, and I think the fans are responding to them the same way.
Coach, whenever it does happen, I'm not sure when it will, but what kind of a head coach is Will Muschamp going to be?
Oh, Will be a great head coach. He's smart, he's tough. I probably overused this term, but for me, he grew up in a coaching family, so that's who he thinks he is from, and wanted to be from a very, very young age. He's got a great relationship with kids. He is he's very demanding. He's very tough, but he is as positive as he is tough and demanding. And he's I don't know if you call him a workaholic. I mean, he's a guy that works all the time. I mean, it's really, really important to him to be prepared and have our team prepared. And he's a great staff guy. He's a lot of fun. He's got a wit and a sarcasm about him that's really fun. And he's usually like the offensive. These coaches work so hard. They're over here really early in the morning. They leave late at night, and so they spend all the time during this time of the season with each other. And the offensive coaches will go buy chicken or they'll go buy something for their lunch, and they say, if you ever need Will, just buy some food and he'll show up. I mean, that's it. It's like he's got a little beeper that says offense brought me some food. And they say that they think the defense could buy some food to him, and it's not something that's against the rules. So but they have a great time. But Will be a great head coach.
Coach, you said your team isn't great yet, but what words would you use to describe the way your offense is?
They've just been really consistent. We're not dropping balls. We're not having turnovers at this point, and we're not dropping balls in the passing game. And Colt's been accurate. I mean, this isn't new for us. He was this way the first year, so we've seen it. It's just who he is. But he's there's a ball in the Oklahoma game where Quan is covered on a third down, and it's over near our boundary, and Colt throws the ball perfectly low and outside. And it's a very difficult catch, but Quan reaches down low and catches it and turns up and makes 8 yards for a first down. And that's just the efficiency that we're seeing. And then you see a guy like Malcolm Williams jump up and make a catch that pulled Colt out of one on Saturday night because it was just a deep throw for a chance. And when you start doing that, guys just step up and make plays.
Do you talk to your guys about tuning out? I mean, the 05 team won it all, but USC was kind of the talk of the regular season. Or do you not worry about that?
We do talk about it on Sunday, and we talk about it Sunday only. I do feel like in trying to evaluate how to talk to this team each week that the juniors and seniors were with the 05 team. So we're really, really lucky. They've been through all this. So it's not like we don't have guys in the dressing room talking for us. And if they'd never been around it, it would have been much more difficult. But if you've got the freshmen that are sitting there all giddy and excited and talking about this and that, these older guys can say just what Jordan Shipley said. There is no prize for 7-0. There's nothing that matters about being number one in the BCS the first time it comes out because we know there's already been 3 or 4 that have dropped. And we also, you turn on the film of Oklahoma State, that'll make you forget about BCS really quickly. I mean, that's what we did with them Sunday. We started showing them Oklahoma State film. We showed them the stats. We showed them we were able to show them how good they are and how productive they've been, and said, you got a long way before you can start talking about what the BCS really means.
Coach, Chris Oppenai continues to excuse me, Leslie.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Leslie. I hate it too, but Ed doesn't care.
They say nice guys, good guys finish last, but when you talk to Jordan and Colt and guys like Chris Hall, does it seem like this team kind of goes against that grain?
I would say nice guys finish first because every night that they lay down to go to sleep, they feel good about themselves. And they have a conscience. And they know they do things right, and this team's full of good kids. And I mean, it's not 4. It's the whole bunch of them know the difference in right and wrong, and they're really, really trying. And they're policing themselves within, saying, don't go out and don't do this and be careful and be smart. And so this team is really, really working to try to live up to the standard that's very high at the University of Texas. And win or lose Saturday, these kids are trying to do everything in their power to make sure that this is the best team it can possibly be.